Is the economy as bad as Americans think? Despite experts asserting the U.S. economy's relative strength, with Colorado State University Stephen Weiler highlighting its complexity, stating, the combination of economic indicators is confusing even for economists. A Redfield and Wilton strategist poll reveals 50% of Americans believing the economy is headed in the wrong direction, with 42% reporting a worsened financial situation in the past year. Folks, 50% are saying we're going the wrong direction. 42% are saying it's worse this year than it was last year. That's pretty scary right there, okay? And this is Newsweek. This ain't Fox News. This is not Breitbart. This is Newsweek talking. John Van Reenen from the London School of Economics links the pessimism to lingering inflation effects post-pandemic, emphasizing prices are coming down, but the increase is still fresh in people's memories. Notably, 59% of respondents in the same poll deemed the economy the most critical issue, signaling the significance in the upcoming election. Economically, while inflation persists, March saw a stronger than expected 3.5% rise, contributing to public unease. However, the labor market remains resilient, with March witnessing 303,000 job increase and unemployment dipping to 3.8%. So the question becomes, Tom, when you hear something like this, is the economy as bad as Americans think? What matters more? Showing data to make an argument and spin to say the economy is better than you guys think, or what the consumer actually feels?
Well, this is interesting. Harris poll ran they ran a poll around something we'll talk about later, buy now, pay later. But there were some things that came out as a result of that polling. When the Americans are saying, there was a follow-up question, Vinny, what's the number one thing to you in the economy? Well, in the election, well, I got immigration and the economy. Why do you say economy? Because the economy's bad. Well, why do you say it's bad? Because I can't afford things and I'm pinched. That is what the consumer means. When the consumer says the economy, Pat, what they're saying, the polling data show, they're saying my economy, my wallet, my household. That's what they're saying. And the three things that they point to is that there's been a cumulative effect of inflation, but they don't say it that way. They say, I go to the grocery store and I look back 3 years and it's 20% more. That hasn't gone down. Maybe eggs, milk, oil, gas, energy, some commodities have come down, thank goodness. They get some relief. But the overall basket of goods is 20% up since March of 2020 to January 2024. If you ran the common inflation calculators, 20%. Number one. Number two, wage growth is behind inflation. Number three, the labor stats that are touted in the headlines aren't matching what people are feeling, because full-time jobs are going away and more people than ever have second jobs, including cash-only side hustles or 1099 side hustles that are not showing up in job reports. So Americans are saying the economy's bad. They're saying my economy's bad, my wallet.
Yep.
Whereas,
and that's what matters, by the way.
That's right. Whereas the mainstream media gets its talking points from the White House. Tell them inflation is coming down. Tell them we blew out the jobs report. Tell them the stock market's up. And by the way, when asked, they all do say, thank goodness my IRA 401k, Pat. The average American gives it credit. The last time I checked, my IRA 401k were okay. So if they have a 401k with work or an IRA with the common indexes and stuff, they've given credit for that, saying, well, thank God the market didn't crash. I saw my retirement balance. But my economy and my household is worse. That's what they mean.
Adam.
Well, look, you kind of did what I typically do, which is more of a personal finance perspective. I'm going to do what you typically do and give more of a macro perspective. I'll say this. Bidenomics has not helped the American people. Bidenomics was supposed to be a bottom-up, from the middle out economic stimulus package to help the economy. Hasn't really done much. You know, Trump was more of a top-down, trickle-down economics, Reagan-esque type of tax cut, which you've talked about, which you parlayed into raises to people in your company, which has worked well. But what's my point? I actually just checked the numbers. We talked about 40% of all money printing was done since 2020. But I actually need to update my stats, because it's actually closer to 80%. I think it's close to like almost $19 trillion is circulating in the economy. What's my point? Biden hasn't done shit to help the American people.
Watch your language.
Whoa.
Okay, guys.
Whoa.
Sorry.
It's a little too much, but
Sorry, guys.
I'm going to clip that and make it my favorite ringtone.
There it is. But let's be like, we're so quick to be binary here and one side good, one side bad.
Yeah.
If he did this, then he's the good. He's good. He's evil. But the reality is, if you look for the gray, the truth is typically somewhere in the middle of sometimes funny and serious.
if you're going to put a plug in for Truth Social, just say it.
There
but
it is.
Get to the point already.
Here it is.
Like we're...
Well, I know that you guys don't like talking bad about Trump, but here's the deal.
Watch it.
Here's the deal. There's a lot of good things you could say about Trump, immigration, the border, anti-wokeness. What I'll tell you straight up is Trump is no fiscal conservative. He printed as much money as any president ever until Biden showed up. He's like, hold my beer, I'm going to print more. So everything that we're feeling now is not just a Bidenomics thing. Some of the blame must go to Trump. How comfortable are you the fact that Trump printed $2.2 trillion
See, the difference here
in
is
2020?
when you say stuff like that,
Yep.
and in the middle of the podcast, friends text and say, hey, say this and say that and say this and say that. And it's like the cruise, what do you call it? Like if you work for Fox or CNN, someone's telling in your ear,
Producer.
tell him this,
The producer.
tell him that. And we don't have that, right? Because we don't have that here, but we have friends that text, right?
Yeah.
So you should tell him this, you should tell him this.
Yeah.
Difference is, I don't want to print any money, whether your name is Trump or Biden, until we start paying off some of our money. I'm about firing people that don't need a government job, that should go make it in the free market, which is super hard. The free market is challenging. We have probably 50% of government employees right now that are working for different agencies that we can fire and tell them, go work for a regular job. Not talking military. I'm not talking certain, cops that we need more security for. And the last thing we need to do is firing cops. We need to actually ask cops to please keep your job and recruit more cops to keep their jobs. Every time I see a cop that's out there, I used to only do it with military servicemen. Now if I see a cop, I stop and I say, do you realize how important your job is? I want to say thank you to you because your job matters. Thank you for putting your life on the line. I'm grateful for you. They need to hear it as well, not just them. But we can fire 50% of them. We'd figure out a way to make it work. Sometimes, Adam, when you run in a company, and we've had to make some tough decisions as the CEO of multiple companies that I've run. Sometimes I need to make a tough decision, and the tough decision sucks. It's never fun when you're making a tough decision. It's just not. And you got to fire somebody. And when you have to fire somebody, that feeling when you fire somebody, in the back of your mind, you as a CEO process it from a few different places. You probably like this person because you've spent some time with them. 2, you're probably, care about their career and you want to make sure they have something to do. And then 3, you also know there's going to be backfiring because people are going to talk and defamation and behind closed doors and spinning of the stories. And really as a CEO, you can't tell the whole story. You especially can't because everyone's watching to see what you do after the way you fire somebody because they're worried about how you're going to fire them one day and they need to be able to feel protected there, right?
Am I being fired?
No, not at all. Dude, if we would have fired you, it would have been 4 years ago, 3 years ago when everybody started saying
Sorry,
what they're
guys.
saying.
I'm still here.
But the point is this. Yeah. The point is the government agencies don't believe they can run without the 50% of the people that they have. I'm convinced they can fire half of the people that are working for these government agencies, and within 3, 6, 12 months, everybody would move on. They'd have to give jobs. They'd be forced to realize the way your attitude is matters because government employees sometimes don't have the best attitude. The way you treat people matters. The way you service people matters. All that stuff matters. So, yeah, I am fully with you on spending money left, right, center, no matter what you are. I want to stop spending money. Let's get our finances in order, okay? When you're running a company and your marketing department or somebody else comes in and says, hey, let's put $3 million into this. Hey, let's put $2 million into this. I said, until you can tell me how we can sell those items, like even a basic thing that we have upstairs, we need $55,000 worth of new computers, and we can sell the other computers for $27,000. Really? Yeah. Place the order. the day you get $27,000 of selling those computers.
Right.
Oh, but that could take 6 weeks. I don't give a shit.
Right.
You sell the computers, you can buy the computers. But you know how the government rolls? Forget about selling it, buy it anyways. And who's paying for that? We're paying for that. That way of spending money, there is no accountability in there, and you're right. And I don't think it's a left thing. I think it's a left, right, center thing.
I fully agree. And it's because when you're not the one that's actually paying for it, when Congress is
We're
like,
paying for
sure,
it. Yeah.
$1 trillion
That's
here,
right.
$1 trillion here,
Yeah.
raise the taxes, there's no accountability.
That's right.
Both sides. This is why they call it the uniparty.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.